I should be there in about 10 minutes. The message from a texting application popped up on the screen of Pure's sleek phone. The owner took a quick glance at a scenario that had once been routine, yet this was the first time in 2 years that Pure had received such a message from Loft. They hadn't completely cut ties, but they had agreed to keep their distance in every possible way. That meant there were no phone calls or messages, even though they could have reached out at any time. The meeting last night had prompted another decision. The 30-year-old woman had to choose the path her relationship would take from here, with little time for reflection, as Loft prepared to leave after saying goodbye. The older woman's heart skipped a beat. Despite Loft's clear longing, she showed no impatience or demands. Loft was still the same girl who gave Pure the ultimate power to decide, just as she always had. Her appearance had changed, but her loyalty remained unshaken. If, at that moment, Pure had allowed Loft to walk away for the second time, she didn't know when they might meet again, or if, by chance, they did meet again, whether the girl's heart would still be unclaimed. The time they had spent apart felt long to both of them. Living with unrelieved longing for 2 years was more than enough. Pure felt that the guilt that had tormented her heart was punishment enough. She hadn't been happy for so long, and it was time to do something for herself, to show herself some love. That was why she reached out to stop Loft, who was like the owner of her heart, from walking away again. Pure, usually so calm, found herself unsettled by certain situations and certain people. The delicate owner of a pottery studio was packing with excitement over Loft's impending visit. She wanted to laugh out loud at how, even at her age, she still acted like a teenager. I love taking classes when the studio's closed. A cheerful voice called from the doorway. Pure turned away from the equipment she had been preparing to face the guest she had been eagerly anticipating. Her heart raced rapidly. The sight of the tall girl in a somewhat formal outfit was unusual, but she had to admit that Loft looked good in a different way. The smile that Pure hadn't seen in so long was blooming on Loft's face, her brightness spreading throughout the space, indifferent to the darkness that had consumed the sky outside. If you came when the studio was open, I wouldn't be free to teach you. Just got off work. Yeah, I tried to hurry, but sorry for being late, she responded to the gorgeous older woman as she made her way to take a seat beside Pure. Why didn't you tell me you've got work? Pure's slightly scolding tone didn't intimidate Loft at all. On the contrary, Loft just kept staring at her with a wide grin, making Pure frown her brows in annoyance. If I had told you, would you have rescheduled? I'm not sure. Then it's good I didn't mention it, Loft murmured. Pure just shook her head before asking if Loft had eaten, considering it was around dinner time. But that question inadvertently led to Loft inviting her to dinner once again. You haven't eaten yet, have you? How about we grab dinner after class? Sure, ready to start. What do you want to make? The teacher asked for the student's goal for today, turning to grab the brown apron she had prepared. When she handed it to Loft, Loft's simple answer was accompanied by a meaningful gaze. A mug. Another one. I only have the PL mug at home. I want an LP mug. The mugs with their initials held many memories. It was absurd how something as simple as a ceramic mug could evoke endless tears. Wherever it was, the sight of it reminded her of that certain someone. Pure was unsure how else to respond, so she muttered and nodded. Instead of letting it go, Loft reiterated her feelings clearly, leaving Pure unable to avoid the truth. She admitted that it wasn't just Loft who had been longing, she had been too. I think of you every time I see that mug. Same here. The tall girl smiled, her eyes crinkling with happiness, showing how much those words from Pure meant to her. For some people, a few simple words could mean the world. Take off your jacket and put on the apron. Loft nodded obediently, standing up too. quickly unbutton her black blazer, revealing a white tank top underneath. Pure couldn't take her eyes off the sight, her face heating up at the memory of having once known every inch of Loft's skin. It was unsettling how easily she could be reminded of those times, feeling she was crossing a line. The skilled artist averted her gaze, unwilling to linger on the enticing view of the tall girl's body before her. "Thank you," Loft said softly as she took the apron from Pure, quickly putting it on. To avoid wasting time, she wasn't in the position to be wearing an apron regularly, so she struggled a bit with tying the strings behind her back. Seeing this, Pure couldn't help but step in, standing close to tie it for her. "All done," the teacher mumbled quietly, her eyes closing momentarily as memories flooded back. The light, familiar scent from Loft enveloped her in nostalgia. "Thank you," Loft repeated, her voice slightly shaky, perhaps due to the warm breath she felt on her neck moments ago, whether it was the closeness or the gentle brush of Pure's soft hands. Loft couldn't pinpoint the exact reason, but her heart was pounding heavily. Pure nodded and murmured in response, stepping back to put on her own apron, before calling the girl, who had so much influence over her heart, over to start kneading the clay for the ceramic mug. The scene was a replay of the past, each step of the lesson unchanged. Loft remained as captivated by her teacher as ever, her eyes fixed on Pure's long hair tied up, exposing her elegant neck. Pure's voice, explaining the details of pottery, was as engaging as ever, but Loft couldn't focus on the words. Pure's understated beauty, with light makeup and dressed in a white t-shirt and skinny black pants, held her attention completely, even as they moved to sit at the eclectic wheelhead, preparing for the next step. Loft couldn't take her eyes off Pure. "Aren't you going to focus on your pottery?" Feeling Loft's gaze linger on her for too long, Pure asked. There was no reprimand in the petite woman's voice, only a gentle nudge to bring Loft back to the task at hand. "Sorry," Loft hurriedly apologized as she placed her hands on the spinning clay. Pure laughed at her eagerness and said no more, placing her hands over the girl's as she had done before. No matter how many times it happened, Pure's soft touch still sent a thrill through Loft. "Keep staring at me, and your mug's going to be crooked." Then let it be. The ceramic mug she was making was far less interesting than her teacher. Her beautiful eyes didn't want to look at anything else. Pure's beauty held her in thrall, and even a gentle reprimand couldn't break the spell for long. Pure looked up after hearing Loft's nonchalant response. At that moment their eyes met. The sweetness in Loft's gaze was obvious, as was the silent plea. The older woman felt as if Loft was asking for something without words, something Pure also longed to give. Slowly, the gorgeous older woman's face leaned closer, closing the gap between them. The tall girl didn't pull away, remaining still as she felt Pure's warm breath. The intimacy they hadn't shared in so long made both their hearts race, each fearing the other might hear it. They wanted to control their pounding hearts, but that was beyond their ability, so they let it be, accepting that they were both moved by this closeness. "Did you miss me?" Their lips were almost touching, yet Loft still wanted to hear the words from the gorgeous older woman's lips, and her effort returned a desirable result. The raspy voice confirmed that, throughout the 2 years apart, they felt the same. "Yes, I did." With those words, Loft leaned in to capture Pure's lips with her own. The familiarity they had lost slowly returned, their heads tilting to find the right angle for this exchange of breath. The kiss, filled with longing, deepened from gentle to intense, their hands still touching the spinning clay. Teacher and student expressed their overflowing longing through sweet kisses, which began with gentle nibbles and escalated to deeper exploration. The other woman gladly welcomed it. The kiss left them both breathless, their feelings shaken, their eyes filled with affection. They had exchanged everything they needed to say. "Can I hold you?" Loft longed to pull Pure into her arms, to breathe in the scent of her dark hair, to hold her tightly so the gorgeous older woman wouldn't disappear. Again. Our hands are dirty. Once we're done here, you can hold me as long as you want. With the small space between them, with their faces only a few inches apart, her hoarse voice felt like it echoed loudly. Pure. Yeah. I love you. I still love you the same. Oh, I love you too, Loft.